Hello and welcome back to the King James Bible Sunday School channel on YouTube and Rumble, and to our day-by-day devotional from Charles Spurgeon, Faith's Checkbook, or the Checkbook of the Bank of Faith. And this was put together by Spurgeon. For those of you who might be wondering, we're a couple months in, and there is a preface, of course, to this. It was written by Spurgeon that talks about how it was done. I did read it on January the 1st, so if you want to go back and check that out, you can. Today is March the 4th, 2025, March 4th, 2025, and I want to go through our daily Bible reading schedules real quick. And from John Butler, the yearly schedule, this is our second time going through this. I'd have to go back to try to remember what we may have done previously, but anyway, make sure this is in the right place. It's a bookmark for me. All right, March the 4th. Today's reading is Deuteronomy chapters 14, 15, 16, and 17. Deuteronomy chapters 14, 15, 16, and 17. And then March the 5th, tomorrow, is Deuteronomy chapters 18, 19, and 20. Deuteronomy 18, 19, and 20. Again, that's our yearly schedule. It gets us through the Bible in 1 year. And then we have a 6-month schedule. I have not done my checks yet. But the reading today is 1 Samuel chapters 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Luke 23, verses 32 through 56. And Luke 24, verses 1 through 35. 1 Samuel chapters 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25, and Luke chapter 23, verses 32 through 56, and Luke chapter 24, verses 1 through 35. Then tomorrow's schedule is going to be 1 Samuel chapters 26, 27, 28, and 29. Luke chapter 24, verses 36 through 53. Looks like 53, sorry. And then that's the end of the book of Luke. And then John chapter 1, verses 1 through 28. So that's 1 Samuel chapters 26, 27, 28, and 29. Luke 24, verses 36 through the end of the chapter, verse 53. And then John chapter 1, verses 1 through 28. And then we have our, that's a 6-month schedule for the whole Bible. And then the New Testament schedule for 3 months. We've got 1 Corinthians chapters 15 and 16 and 2 Corinthians chapter 1 today. 1 Corinthians 15 and 16 and 2 Corinthians chapter number 1. And then tomorrow, 2 Corinthians chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 Corinthians chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on tomorrow for that New Testament, to be done with it by the end of this month. So, less than 30 days. Anyway, 31 days this month. Would be 4 days in right now, so 27 days left. We gotta get through the rest of the New Testament. It'll move right along. And let's go to our devotional. Like I said, this was put together by Spurgeon. I had the question asked to me if it was compiled by somebody else or produced by Spurgeon himself, and it's a good question, and it's certainly legitimate. There's a lot of things where people put together compilations of various things, quotations. There's a lot of good books that compile different quotations, supposedly on different subjects, and it compiles quotations about it. Whereas you can get, all of his sermons, and you can look at they're online. The Spurgeon Library. So you can do that. But of course, those were compiled as well. Not every sermon that's in there is his. He does have some sermons that were preached by others at the Metropolitan Tabernacle or the New Park Street pulpit. I'm not so sure that there's another preacher in the first. I think it's 5 volumes of the whole, or six. It may be six. I believe it's six, and I'm not sure that there's any other preachers there. It only produces one per week, so it's 52 for the year. If I'm remembering everything correctly, I don't. It may occasionally pull more in, but it will have sometimes expositions that it would make more chapters per se. But it's a weekly sermon, that's given. So it's what was published weekly, and that means that if you have a normal, Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night services, or like Spurgeon would have meetings and revivals where he would preach multiple times, and those were also recorded and could be included as well. So his sermons um, are a sampling of what he actually preached, and I don't even know the total number, but it exists out there. Somebody has it, like the final volume has an ongoing list of how many it is. I know it's well over, uh, like 4,000, but I'm not sure what the number is, and I want to say it's more than 5,000 sermons of published sermons. And again, recently they came out with, the Lost Spurgeon, which was, uh, I think it probably, no, I'll probably show it to you sometime on the channel, or I may have done it before. I don't know. Can't remember right now. But it, I was saying it probably is filling out the New Park Street pulpit years, those 6 years, uh, there, and while building the tabernacle, um, toward the end of it, and preaching at Surrey Gardens and some other places, if I remember right. But yes. Anyway, I'm saying that there's compilations that are done that are really good and stuff like that, and I know that there's probably some Spurgeon compilations out there, that are somehow similar to these. Some kind of devotional thing. I know that they exist because I've seen something, that's like the 365 Days a Year with Moody, or Coffee with Moody, or something like that. And those are generally compilations because Moody, um, there was a lot of publishing work that Spurgeon did, and so he oversaw that, and produced his, um, the Sword and the Trowel, magazine, if you will, or newsletter, newspaper, something to that effect. And Moody, on the other hand, uh, did less of the overseeing of publications, so other people did that for the most part. Okay, somebody that knows Moody very well is welcome to correct me on any of those errors. My understanding, from the biographies I've read, and my ex- hmm, experiences, as it were, with his, the books that are available and things like that, is, there's a few that are put out, for books' sake, uh, formatted that way. But generally speaking, they're probably messages preached as well, and then brought into the book form, and slightly rewritten, for that purpose. But there's not a lot. Moody has a very few. He published them, to get them out, to make them, popular works, and to make them inexpensive and available. So the still enough quality to last. But when I have his little paperbacks, this size of a book, right? Paperback, but thinner. because he wanted it more accessible, quicker to read, and things like that. You can read his life work and all that, and see, what his hope was to do, and also trying to get other people published in that format as well. So he wasn't focused as much on his works and his product getting out as he focused on uh, organizing the meetings, and then of course organizing um, the the different schools that he established and stuff like that at that point, and so on, the institutes for preachers and teachers and laymen, uh, Christian workers, etc. Um, his works are amazing, but he's not as prolific in the writing category. So I appreciate very much when people can uh, compile different things from D.L. Moody, because it's 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 fairly scattered out there. He didn't organize any kind of systematic theology or anything like that. Not that Spurgeon necessarily did, but Spurgeon did do lectures for his students, and put that out there. Wrote books like John Plowman's uh, Pictures, John Plowman's Talks, I think it is. So a variety of different things um, that he put out in writing. All right, some different commentaries on a few volumes. Um, the one that comes to mind readily is Matthew. That he was working on that when he passed away. It was completed by uh, by his wife and secretary, using notes that he left behind, things like that to fill it out, and of course probably many of the sermons that had been preached. So um, there's anyway, that's just those two. There's plenty of other authors out there too that there are compilations of, and I would love it. I'm rambling too much. We need to get to the reading, but I would love for modern publications to be very clear on what they're doing when they uh, claim a publication of an old author. To say that they're updating language, and updating the Bible version and changing the old language, I found it disingenuous because I listened to somebody read the updated language one while I was reading morning and evening from an older edition. And sure enough, there were some things that were changed that was totally unnecessary and diminished from the meaning that was being given. And then there was something changed that stood out to me as what you would obviously try to change. It amazed me. Um, but everybody has their thoughts about it. So the best thing to do would be to make sure you're being very clear that you're editing, the work. Leave it alone if you can, because there's no reason really to edit his works. Uh, if you need to define a few terms, you go ahead and do that, because I've defined a couple of terms during this. When I saw something that I didn't understand, I look it up and then say, okay, I need to understand things better. Um, I need to learn certain words, and that's just life. You got to learn words, and I'm all for perhaps that. Define a word in the margin or something like that, or at the bottom of the page. There's plenty of room in these things to do something like that, rather than make changes or make it super clear you're making changes to an old author. Um, but generally speaking, just leave that old author's work alone and produce it and put it out there and say, here you go. I find the old works many times better than many modern works. Uh, but that may just be me. But anyway, I have rambled now for far too long and haven't even gotten to the devotional. So let's get to the devotional. And it comes from 1 Samuel chapter 2, and verse 30. 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 30. Them that honor me, I will honor. Them that honor me, I will honor. Do I make the honor of God the great object of my life and the rule of my conduct? If so, he will honor me. I may for a while receive no honor from man, but God himself will put honor upon me in the most effectual manner. In the end, it will be found the surest way to honor, uh, to be willing to be put to shame for conscience sake. Eli had not honored the Lord by ruling his house well, and his sons had not honored the Lord by behavior worthy of their sacred office, and therefore the Lord did not honor them, but took the high priesthood out of their family, and made young Samuel to be ruler in the land instead of any of their line. If I would have my family ennobled, I must honor the Lord in all things. God may allow the wicked to win worldly honors, but the dignity which he himself gives, even glory, honor, and immortality, he reserves for those who, by holy obedience, take care to honor him. What can I do this day to honor the Lord? I will promote his glory by my spoken testimony and by my practical obedience. I will also honor him with my substance, and by offering to him some special service. Let me sit down and think how I can honor him, since he will honor me. And that's the reading for today. I want to encourage you, of course, to meditate on the Word of God. Think on the Scriptures. Think on the thoughts that are given to you by things that you study, devotional thoughts that you may search out, and some writing from your library, uh, such as Moody or Spurgeon. Yeah. But um, mm, I do not want to go astray from this right now. But I want to try to encourage you again to fellowship with the Lord Jesus Christ, walk with Him today, spend time with Him in prayer and in adoration and praise, and give some time to the Lord and let Him work in your life and do what you need done, and share below, if you will, what the Lord's touching you about and where He moves in your life, and love to hear from you. And we will see you again tomorrow for another day by day devotional.